Good blessed evening to all human beings all around the world. This evening happened to be Friday, May the 15th, 2020. It's about 6:30 p.m. 2020 is a good vision, a good sight. 2020 is a time of change. You see on that truck, on them tires, even though these tires still some good, but it was a time for change. I want to try to make this as short as possible because I want people to have patience to think, to look, and to listen. You see that sign there? That sign says, elect Keith Moore for sheriff. That's here in Mississippi County. We happen to be in Charleston, Missouri, one of the few cities in Mississippi County. And I'm going to tell you why. You see, look at the few. You may have 3 or 4, maybe not even that many, critics on my YouTube channel. The only time they come out, now see, when I told them about my daughter's arm being broken, they not concerned about that. When I told them about the white female in the Family Dollar store here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County on February the 13th, 2020, falsely accused my 13-year-old daughter of her and her mother stealing. My daughter ain't never stole nothing in her life. They wasn't concerned about that. They wasn't concerned about when individuals came out here threatening me, individuals came out here disturbing my peace, police officers sitting here laughing and talking to them. Talking about me with them who I'm complaining about. They don't have no problem with that. But when I get to talking about the chief of police, Robert Hearns, when I get to talking about the present sheriff here in Mississippi County, Pharaoh, when I get to talking about the present NAACP leader here in Charleston, Missouri, Lester Gillespie, when I get to talking about the Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center, when I get to talking about white supremacists, when I get to talking about sellout blacks who's using blacks in the black community, that's the only time they come out. They'll call me a rapist. Now they calling me a sex offender, saying, how do I have my children? Well, you go down to the suburb of Ferguson, Missouri, and ask Judge Lynn Brown, who was on the bench here in Mississippi County for 25 years. Ask him why he gave me my children. But I can tell you this here. You study talking about me, John Cole. Now, if the right law enforcement officials look into some of the people in the sheriff's department, one in particular, you know he had a felony. Just like Lester Gillespie and some of the other people in the NAACP. You see that circle I told you about? They got one of the judges in there, Bob Barker, who worked it for Susanna Wesley. Bobby Hearns, who used to be on Susanna Wesley board. A few of them other people that works in the C.F. Bowen Center with the present NAACP president. Some of them got convictions. We talking about sex offenders. We talking about rape. But they ain't gonna talk about that. You see, one thing I'm gonna tell you black folks here in Charleston, Missouri, whether you like me or not, if you can't vote and you got friends and family members that can vote, have them to register to vote. If you oust the present sheriff, then you can work on getting the chief of police, the mayor, the administrator, and all these people that been in power for all these years. You can get these people out of there, and the black community will be a better place. You see what I'm saying? The black community would be a better place and a safer place to be. You see, what these people been doing for decades now, they know for a fact that present NAACP president, who used to be a part of Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center, they know the criminal activities he was doing for the 20 years he worked for them. You know why they didn't care? They didn't care because he was misusing the black community. Instead of helping the people that was on drugs, instead of helping the people that was on drugs, instead of helping the alcoholics, instead of helping the prostitutes, the drug addicts, the alcoholics, he gave $1 or bag of candy or a cigar or 40-ounce can of Old English beer to vote. You'd imagine if he did it then, Susanna Wesley didn't care. He started working at Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center in 1997. They let him retire in 2017, 20 years. But they knew the criminal activities. There's mothers that came to me about this present NAACP president. I'm talking about recently, this year, last year, about him paying them $500 with a check and tell them to go to Town and Country before it closed down, in order to go to McLean's, cash the check and get him half. Or when they old man is out of town and their son is playing basketball for it, they entrusted this black individual that these white supremacists sent in our community to misuse our community. They entrusted in him to take care of their children on this basketball thing, but while the male is out of town, he's trying to have sex with this male's wife or female friend. You see, before my children's mother died, she made 2 YouTube videos, and she told you about the corruption. She told you about the corruption of the Susanna Wesley Family Learning Center. Some of them. She told you about the Charleston, Missouri Police Department. All you got to do is look. Look, listen. If we get this man out of office, the sheriff, because we don't see what he's doing here. He working hand in hand with Bobby Hearns, who Bobby Hearns don't care what his police officers do. Now, there are a few police officers on the Charleston, Missouri Police Department that's doing their job. But they can't solve all the crimes by themselves. They feel disrespected when some of these other officers be out here breaking the law. But if they boss Bobby Hearns don't do nothing about it, sometimes you have to keep good police on that force to make sure they don't kill individuals. They've probably been and killed me by now. But listen to this ignorant individual, John Cole. Listen to this ignorant individual that called himself Mikey Jones. Listen to this ignorant individual that called himself Everybody Hates Raymond. Look how many times they changed their YouTube names. But you can look at their grammar and tell it the same people. For black people, we got to come together, whether you like each other or not. Get out here, all right now. Get out here, register to vote. Let's vote Brent Pharaoh out of office and put Keith Moore in there. Let's unite. Let's get some marches going. Let's get Chief Bobby Hearns up out of there. Ain't solving no murders. Ain't solving, you don't never see him. You don't never see nobody in the police, Charleston, Missouri Police Department elevating in rank besides the chief of police, Bobby Hearns, the captain, Anthony Mooney, the sergeant, Percy Owens. And then they using Percy Owens. They trying to get Percy Owens against me. We done had our dispatch, but I make you know, try to make peace with them. I try to make peace with anybody that's standing on the law right. You see what I'm saying? But you know, Brent Pharaoh and the chief of police, the sheriff and the chief of police done showed me what they think about blacks. Why ain't no blacks on the police department besides the sergeant? Why ain't no black deputies on the sheriff department? Why is individuals on the sheriff department with convictions, felons? I'm gonna tell you why. All you got to do is go around and look what them signs at. Brent Pharaoh. And most of all these cornfield, wheat fields, and then in the field of the NAACP president in they circle. They leave Susanna Wesley, go to the housing authority. They leave the housing authority, go to Susanna Wesley. They 80 and 90 years old and still working. They won't even give a yarn no jobs. You know why? Because they in the circle. That God wants y'all to break it up. This is 2020. Break they circle up. You see, the Hearns family is getting old. Bob Barker, he ain't gonna be in there long because all the corruption that he doing. Letting the NAACP president have him to get these shooters back out on the streets because they ain't shooting in his neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? The NAACP president, he ain't here. He ride around in here in that nice fancy truck, vote for Brent Pharaoh, and then at nighttime, when the shooting and stuff happened, he right back over there on North Main Street by the police department in an all-white neighborhood, or 99.90% white neighborhood, but he ain't caring about this. Brent Pharaoh ain't caring about it. Bobby Hearns ain't caring about it. Anthony Mooney ain't caring about it. Now you got some of the Charleston Missouri police are caring about it, and I'm not gonna take that from them. Get out there and vote. Let's take the black neighborhood back. I don't care what they call me. They can call me a rapist. You see what I'm saying? They can keep wondering why I got my kids. Go get Bob Barker and tell them to take my children. Matter of fact, tell them one of them judges to come over here, one of the chief of police or the sheriff to come in my house and take my kids. I'll guarantee you, it'll be a fight to the end. Peace be still.